As a boxer, I hate this character with all my guts. I hate him. The fact that he cheats in any way possible to get what he wants, it's disgusting. Him and his brother that is also following the same goddamn path. That's what the author wants you to think when you see Fabrizio, a character that feels and acts like someone you're supposed to hate. But this series makes sure that the character in question has two personalities. One that is focused on creating another image of himself, like John Tucker, the rookie killer. A fearless monster on the ring when it comes to new boxers, but in real life the rookie killer is just a name or a character that he plays for the media and money, but outside the world he's a normal human like you and me. John Tucker, who is still trying to decide what he's trying to do with his life, but the difference with Fabrizio is that he already know what he wants to do. He has a goal in life. Being a complete a-hole to his opponents and destroy them from the inside by going into their personal life or just being really disrespectful is just an act. He's just trying to make his mother proud and give her good medical care, and he's been doing this for years, even when he was a kid. And with him, we kind of get the One Piece treatment, where they introduce us to a character that demands to be hated, and then later on in the story, we get some kind of flashback of his past, where it's all sad and shit.
Yep. That's what I want to hear, yes sir.
Okay, well, sorry for that, but for today, you guys, I will explain the full backstory of Fabrizio Santorino, the monster with a soft heart. But before I start, you guys are 95% not subscribed when you're watching a video, so make sure to subscribe for more of the boxer videos. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter for more webtoon/manga content. And now, let's get into the video. Is it fun to hit people? The fight between you and Fabrizio already started, but Coach K used his own medicine against him, steroids that are stronger than Fabrizio's, and they poisoned him at the start of the match by tricking his mom to give him a milk filled with nitrate, making him feel dizzy and have his lips turn into a purplish bluish color. And at the same time that this match was going off, we see how Fabrizio's mom cares about him, praying at the church every day for the safety of her son, both of them. And by this little pray that she does, we actually learn a little bit about her, like the fact that she has a disorder called borderline intellectual functioning or borderline mental retardation, where the IQ of the patient is below the average, but the disorder does not serve as a intellectual disability, something that's below 70. But after those two events happening at the same time, Fabrizio is getting his life in danger and his mom is praying for his safety. We, on the other hand, have to go back in the past very far, where Fabrizio, Marco, and their sister Julia have to face reality as poor children living under very poor conditions, and their mom is doing her best to love them, to educate them, and to raise them. But at some point, life doesn't give you what you want, of course. Where they lived wasn't free, so rent was always, but I say always, a problem for Maria, their mother. So she was always getting extensions, and the boys wanted to help her out, so after dropping their sister out in school, they had the bright idea to steal money from tourists because they're in Italy, one of the most beautiful places to visit and have a marvelous experience. Yeah, you will never forget. Just like the town where you lost your wallet talking to those two kids, but they thought that they were doing the right stuff to help their mom, and after a couple of bucks stolen, they still didn't have enough money, so they decided to go back to their place just to find their mother getting yelled at again for the rent money. Perhaps another way to pay the rent will be appreciated. That's what the landlord would say, because nothing was said during this discussion, because movement was the only thing that can be shown to the audience watching. Of course, her body was a type of payment the landlord would accept, so after this intervention, they had their own business to do back at his place, leaving the children alone, listening to the bed, checking left and right upstairs. This panel made me so mad that they had to suffer like that, and I know that those situations are also realities that some individuals cannot escape, and it's just really pissing me off that their dad or someone in their family cannot help. They just have to stay quiet so they can eat, sleep, and try to enjoy their childhood the best way they can. And they know that they can't do anything about it. That's why they're trying their best to help their poor mother that owes money to the landlord. After this day, they were again stealing from the tourist. But a gangster saw them. Nah, but jokes aside, a gangster saw them stealing from those tourists. So of course, he beat them up and sent them back home. But the gangster didn't have enough of this fun. He has of beating children's, so he went after Maria, saying that their lesson fee wasn't enough. The next morning, their mom came back early, just like she did with the landlord, except for this time she came back with bruises and disappointment regarding her children's. And just like every mom, she had to punish them, because as a mother, she's trying her best to give them a purpose to life, and they're just throwing it away. But those two kids were just trying to help their mom. Nothing more, nothing less. They knew that stealing money was bad, but they couldn't help it. Seeing their mom getting new bruises every day by different men from the village, they couldn't stand for it. So changes had to be done around the place, starting with the revenge against that damn bum who came after their mother. They started to have ideas at first, dreams to be exact, like becoming champion in the boxing industry, but Marco had something better in mind, and that is going to a better school, a good one, so that Maria could afford if she can't afford it. But later on, Marco wasn't really looking for a school, but for the gangster that harmed their mother. He got some information here and there, like his favorite restaurant, the way he drinks, and the way he leaves off. He did the same research for about 3 days until the final day came. His little brother wanted to help, but Marco refused it and went on his way to kill the gangster. As weak as he is, Marco had another plan than just going straight at him with his 90-year-old fists. Instead, he prepares a lot of booby traps for the gangster, just like Home Alone. But it started really hard. First, getting him to bend over was kinda easy. Putting money on the ground so he could get it, and then a good head on the head with a wooden plank should knock him out, right? Of course not. But Marco was already prepared for that, so he led the gangster into an alley where even more booby traps was there waiting for him. Bricks, gas, and a lot of rocks thrown at him. But at the end of the race, Marco was waiting for him, holding a broom with a knife on top of it. Knowing that he for sure didn't kill anyone before, the gangster gives him a good punch in the stomach and grabs him by the collar, saying that his mom should have never had kids like him and his brother. But as he's preparing to kill him, Marco responds with, "I should take care of the trash right now." And behind the gangster stands Fabrizio holding a bat sky high and hits the man on the head. With rage and revenge, Fabrizio and Marco jumps the gangster until he gets knocked out, leaving Marco with a knife, scarring the man for life. After this event, the brothers would never feel the same, not as citizens, neither kids, but more like grown-ups that can finally look up for each other. Next day, the man was found on the ground paralyzed from the waist down, and with the money they stole from him, the two brothers bought meat for their mother so they can eat with their family. Something else than tomato soup, finally, and it was a meat pie. Of course, it tasted bad because Maria never cooked with meat before, but the real goal behind this food was not the looks, neither the taste, but the attention and love that Maria had when making it. For once, the whole family had a smile on their faces while enjoying a new taste to their mouths. Another thing that they enjoyed while being a family, I guess, was going to church. Maria, who was a Christian, never forgot to pray for her children's once in a while for their safety and influence they had around the streets. And we can see this influence transform into a massacre, a bloody one, where Fabrizio and Marco doesn't have a place in church because of the sin they committed, but both of them liked the vibe and the mood that the church was giving off. It was like being in another world with their mom. But later on the day, they went off the neighborhood to find a place where they can practice boxing. But there was no one who would help them out because gyms didn't exist back then. I mean, yeah, it did exist, but they just didn't have the budget to build one and afford trainers. It was either fight clubs, it's illegal by the way, or nothing. And with all the struggle they got, an old drunk man that goes by the name of Luciano Mundi saw their problem with boxing, so he offers his training. By seeing him, they definitely decline his offer because he looks like a bum. I don't know what they expected though, probably someone like Angelo Dunde or Rocky. They forgot that they lived in a poor village, but Mundi backfired by saying, "But I know what you two did," making both Fabrizio and Marco hostile against Mundi. But in the end, they agreed to learn how to box with the old man. The first training was a fight between each other, Marco versus Fabrizio. Who would win? But this fight was not to see who was the strongest, but it was to determine what style both of the brothers had. In Marco's way, he was using his head instead of his fists, having a better stance and a better understanding of how Fabrizio will throw his punches. And he has really come when it's time to execute one of his attacks. But for Fabrizio, he is someone really aggressive when it comes to boxing. Mundi even admits that he was born a fighter. He even admits that he is over 1 or even 2 weight classes higher than Marco. But but Mundy stops the fight saying that he's seen enough and explains that there is two sides of boxing. There's the physical side and there's the mental side. Both of them has one of each sides. Marco has definitely the mental side and Fabrizio had the physical side, which means that they have potential, right? Well, no. Potential comes with many promises, which ends up to be goals like being the best middleweight boxer or becoming a good boxer in general. But both of them, their goal was to become world champions. Yes, it's a big goal, but it's not impossible. But Mundy just had to crush their dreams by saying that it's not possible for both of them because to become world champion, a boxer needs the two sides of boxing, a physical side and a mental side. Like Manny Pacquiao, a formidable boxer that I think has the potential to become the world champion, which both of them doesn't have. But there's still something that could help them becoming what they want, and that is a deep obsession of winning no matter what. So after years of training with Mundy, both of the brothers became boxers that finally earned money, and now with the strength that they have, it's time for a bigger revenge. One, of course, in the landlord, and the other one was for that child support. Yes, Marco and Fabrizio found the address of their father, beat him up, and made him sign a contract that would give money to their mom once every 3 weeks. After this was done, they came back to their old village, training with Mundy once more, and it was Christmas time, so they invited the old man to have a dinner with the Santorino family back at Maria's house, where she lives in a better suitable place, a place where there's no landlord who would come by and ask for a body to pay the rent money. And as we enter the place with Mundy wearing something clean for once, we see that Maria has her eyes on him, a pretty cute old man with a beard that looks exactly like Santa Claus, and of course Julia couldn't stop but to touch it. The beard, yeah, the beard, you freaking weirdos. And Maria joined on the fun too. So it began another fun time with the whole family, eating a better made meat pie with the additional support of Mundy. After this feast, the three guys went outside for a walk where they had a snowball fight, something that they wanted to do for years. When they were kids, they always saw this happy family having a snowball fight. Two boys with their father sharing a beautiful smile and a connection to each other. And now Fabrizio, Marco, and Mundy can share the same feeling that the family had back then. But after this fight, Mundy left the two boys alone, saying everyone will have one day face the price of what they built. And after saying those wise words, he went off in Maria's house to eventually find her either taken hostage by the mafia or intruders barged in inside the house. It depends because we didn't see what happened, but the only thing we saw was the aftermath of the incident. And Mundy got terribly wounded by a knife, leaving him half dead on the ground. Of course, Marco and Fabrizio wanted to help him by putting bandages, calling an ambulance, anything to save his life, but Mundy declined everything, and that's because his time has finally come. And before dying, he said some words that could end up the career of both young boxers. Life is an unreasonable game that is impossible to win in the first place. To die for the sake of fame and happiness for a short time without external power or external winner. That's a human life. After saying those phrases, he continued to hype them up, both of them, and he finished his speech by saying that he'll watch them. After this, Fabrizio and Marco became one of the most strongest, the most dangerous boxers in the world, but they still had to help their mother, whose condition were getting worse and worse every day, and even got to the point where she had to stay at the hospital for months, and it didn't get better since. But every time he puts on this character on the ring, it's for a good reason. Yes, it's for the media and money, but it was also for his mother and her medical bills. After everything that her mother did for him, Fabrizio just had to be this demonic character that was a cheater, a snake, a virus to boxing industry, but it was all for one purpose, and that was his mother's life. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe and don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Drop your favorite webtoon and manga on the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next video.